Well, in law there are three key things that a director is obliged to be able to demonstrate. So if they're ever tested, they need to be able to show that they have acted in three specific ways. And those three ways are firstly care, secondly skill, and thirdly diligence. And I use the phrases caring, they need to be caring, they need to be competent, and they need to be consistent. And so those are challenging in many ways, because too many people say, are you a director because of what's on your CV, your curriculum vitae, your resume, your experience? And so they're really focusing on one element, the skill element. And obviously skill is essential to make decisions and to act in a way that is appropriate to one's function. But the other two are probably, and they almost, skill is bracketed by caring on one side, and caring has to do in the current environment with how have you as a director taken into account the competing needs and interests of different stakeholders. So your employees want a raise, your shareholders want a dividend, your supply chain needs to be paid on time, and the environment needs to be taken care of. You need to get profits, but the cost of compliance is driven up. So the government wants certain things. The government wants its taxes, dividends. So there's the company sits within a whole spectrum of competing interests. And so caring is being able to prove that in a decision you actually said, yes, what about this party? What about that party? And have we made a decision that is rational and that we can justify to those different parties? And so that's the one bracket. Okay, skill we take for granted because you wouldn't be there unless you had the skill and experience to do what your job was. But the second bracket, or the third element, is that of diligence, consistency. Are you doing the same thing over and over again? And diligence in terms of how well you interrogate the data you're given, how well you guide the people, how well you motivate your chief executives or your operational people to do the work. Or do you act very well around reporting time, but then the rest of the year you slacken off? So that diligence of consistently acting and being at the forefront. And so time comes into the diligence issue. So too often directors do not apply the time they need to the work of thinking, because primary work of a director doesn't happen with their hands, it happens with their head. And decisions are made here before they are acted out. And directors are the custodians of the decisions in the organization. And so when decisions are made, they need to be skillful, based on the right data, based on the right input and the right information, but also they need to be caring, and they need to be made consistently. Because too often organizations want to do one thing one year, the next thing they change direction completely, or they determine a strategic direction but aren't consistent and diligent in actually making sure the whole organization is aligned to that. And so they don't achieve what they want to achieve because they haven't been caring, skillful and consistent in what they do.